Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm Jeff Dover. With me is John Barbin. Let's talk football.
Yeah, this is our NCAA Week 11 locks of the year of the week. All right, so we had another winning week, I think, last week.
Yes, we did.
Got our numbers there?
Yep. So we got the Indiana, Michigan State, Indiana minus 7.5. That was never in doubt. Clemson, Louisville, a really good call by you for the Louisville winning outright, but we had them plus 11.5. Had another win, Oregon, Michigan, more over 45.5. Another Oregon, Michigan minus the 15.5. So we had doubled up on that one. Texas Tech plus 13.5. Iowa State, they also won outright, I believe.
Yep.
Vandy plus 6.5, also another win outright. The losses, we had Texas A&M minus 2.5. South Carolina. South Carolina looked like a beast, especially in the fourth quarter. Ohio State, Penn State, I had Penn State plus 3.5. They looked terrible. It was just
you know what though, that pick was a good pick. If they were ever going to get him, it was this year.
It was tied at the half, anyway, it was.
And I mean, Howard tried to give that game away. So that's Penn State's just a fraud.
The one I'm really pissed off about was the Florida Georgia under 52.5. It was 13-6 at halftime, and then and the starting quarterback was out. I thought that was going to be absolutely no problem, but just went over at the last touchdown. I had Duke. We had Duke Miami under 54.5, which went
over by 30.
Yeah, that got squirrely quickly. And then I threw in the Boise State under 57.5, which that didn't work out either.
That didn't work out. That was a thrashing that Boise put on them.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not like Genty had 250 yards.
No, it was just
just a total
crazy one. Yeah.
All right, but still a winning week. So we're still in the positive. All right, so moving on, if you want to keep winning with us, let's follow along here and see what we got this week. Shall I start?
Please.
All right, Miami, Georgia Tech. Miami lay the points. I don't understand why anyone thinks Georgia Tech.
You've been on the Miami train.
Keeps working. Yeah. I don't know why you wouldn't lay the points here. There's no reason to think Georgia Tech's holding them back. So, I mean, I don't. Even in the Duke game where it was kind of. Duke was hanging in there and it looked like, oh man, it's going to be close. Miami just pulled away and still won by whatever it was, 20 points. So I don't see what it is that Georgia Tech's going to do here to keep this thing close. It's just, I mean, this strikes me as like the Clemson game or the Texas Tech game last week. Just way, way too many points. So I don't know. I'll lay the points all day with Miami in this one.
Yeah, so that's Miami minus 11. Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
And I don't, and it's not like at Georgia Tech is a huge environment for them either, so.
No, it's just, no.
I was, it's a crazy high total. It's 63.5. So I was flirting with the under. I'm not going to take it because Miami could take care of it mostly on their own.
No, I'm never betting on under with Miami ever again.
I know, but that one seems crazy high. But yes, we'll just stick with Miami in the points. That's probably the way to go. Okay, so my number one lock of the week of the century
of the year
is Syracuse at Boston College. That's why I'm wearing the shirt. Syracuse plus 2. I know it's at Boston College, but they're not very good. And Boston College's defense is very good. And what Syracuse can do is put up points. So they score a lot. I think Colin McCord's been really good. So I don't understand, giving points, getting points, and against not a very good team. I'll take that all day long. So I've got Syracuse at Boston College.
Yeah, I was looking at that. Castellanos scares me. Like he can have a game, and I was on the Boston College train. We both were for a while.
Yes.
But then they started to falter.
They've lost 3 in a row.
Yeah,
against Virginia Tech, and Louisville. And they barely beat Western Kentucky. So I don't. Yeah. I just think Syracuse is a better team. So.
Yeah, and I think Syracuse can put up points on them. So yeah. All right, I'm with you on that one. So this one, okay, Georgia at Ole Miss. I'm just taking Ole Miss plus the points.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I know Georgia just has to get got at some point. The way Carson Beck is playing, like he got lucky. They got lucky in the Florida game. 3 interceptions. You should lose by 2 touchdowns on a 3 interception game.
I think that I was going to go George on this one because. There's no way Beck throws 3 interceptions again.
I think there's every way he throws 3 interceptions again.
I think that they want no part of that. I think they're going to lean into the run game. I think they're going to pare the playbook way down for him now and I think they're going to go back to like the old school, like Bama, Georgia teams with like running and defense and reducing the number of possessions because they don't want to get in a shootout with Ole Miss.
I think he's going to do. I think Kiffin's going to do everything he can to get them into a shootout.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm just betting on them having what it takes and having a game plan and having enough talent to force this into an Ole Miss high scoring game versus a Georgia boa constrictor game. But with that said, Georgia's not playing boa constrictor games. That's what we thought they would do in Florida. They didn't do it. Yeah, they get Georgia seems to get caught in the other team's game. Like I don't see them control. Kentucky controlled the game against them. I don't even know what you call what happened with Alabama. That's certainly not the game Georgia wants to play.
No.
And then the Texas game and last week's game against Florida, I doubt Georgia's plan was, oh, let's throw 3 picks. Let's have 3 turnovers and try to overcome them. None of those are. Georgia has yet to show me they can walk in and completely control a game. Now, Ole Miss has had, a clunker against Kentucky, but Ole Miss has many of their games this season are what you would expect an Ole Miss game to look like. I've yet to see a game where Georgia, that's a Georgia. How about this? What is a Georgia game this year?
Yeah, that's an even better way to look at it.
I mean, I guess, is it the Clemson game? Because even then, even as dominant as that final score was, that was a half a game. There it is. That's what a Georgia game is. A Georgia game's half a game. They had a half a game against Florida. They had a half a game against Clemson. They had a half a game against Alabama.
And other than that Ole Miss game against Kentucky, they've looked like Ole Miss the whole season.
Right. So is Kentucky the map for what to do to Ole Miss? I mean, it's not like Georgia doesn't have talent to beat everyone, including Ole Miss. But for something about what's going on with that team this year, Santiago, you guys got any ideas? Is this sounding right? They just look like they can put in a championship level half a game, win the national championship half a game, and then they can look god awful for half a game, worse than I've ever seen Georgia look. Like three picks in a half. What are you doing? So again, I'm just really
back-to-back games with 3 picks.
I'm betting on Ole Miss having enough talent to control this game, and Georgia still being this Jekyll and Hyde half a team, and we'll see.
Yeah, I like your reasoning. Georgia can't win an Ole Miss type of game.
No,
and that's because if it gets to that, that's not good.
No, so we'll see what happens. I mean, I could be totally wrong, and Georgia could just show up and do a Georgia thing from a year ago or 2 years ago, but this year they just aren't doing it. So
it's another good way is that it has to catch up with them at some point. So that's another good point.
I'm thinking it will. So this is the week I think it's going to catch up.
All right, my next lock of the century of the minute is the Florida State Notre Dame game. I bet you don't have a call.
Oh, it's right here.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, because I got Notre Dame on the wall. Maybe they're too far off the one side.
Oh, okay. But, okay. So I've got it's Notre Dame favored by 26 points, which is crazy, at Notre Dame at night. But the total's just at 42.5, which seems really low. So I'm going to say the over 42.5. Yeah,
I'll double up with you on that. That's what I got here too.
All right, perfect.
I think Notre Dame can get most of that by themselves.
Absolutely. And there's and what's totally in there is a FSU garbage touchdown at the end. There's a FSU turnover short field. There's all kinds of ways to get the over here, I think. So it's
in this disaster of a season. Let's review here. What was that spread again?
Notre Dame by 26.
When was the last time Notre Dame was favored by 26 over Florida State?
It's one of the biggest spreads of the whole slate, and there's a lot of games, And
I was toying with taking it because Florida State's that bad. They're just that bad, and it's not like Notre Dame has an overwhelming offense, but I think to a man they're just going to crush them.
Yeah.
So
no, I think that one.
But I'm totally with you. It was one of my first ones I put on here.
Is it really
the Notre Dame Florida State over?
Okay, what's your next one?
Michigan versus Indiana. I'll take over 48.5. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure about the spread, but I'm pretty sure Indiana can get most of that by themselves.
Yeah, I was a little worried because I think Michigan's defense is actually I mean, I don't know. We've been saying this for a while, but it's actually not bad. But I don't know if they've
I
actually
trust Indiana's offense more than anything Michigan has to
Yes.
offer.
Oh, that part I'm also really worried about Michigan scoring anything, right? So it's really all going to have to
Indiana's
come
defense is
from
good too. Yeah.
from from Indiana, but they're, it's surprising that it's in the 40s and it's Indiana. So I think you're on the
I
right.
think the odds makers still don't trust Indiana, and they haven't played enough higher quality teams to prove that this team's that good. But
Yeah.
I mean,
No, that's a good
blasting
call.
Nebraska, blasting Washington, like I don't understand how much worse they have to beat those teams.
Yeah.
I guess they just don't care until they play what they view as a top level team with top level talent. They just don't care what they're doing to all these other teams.
Mhm.
So, anyways, I'll take the over there.
Yeah.
What else you got?
And you do another one.
BYU at Utah. I'll take over 41.5. Utah's not the Utah we think they are. And BYU, I think, is going to kill them if Utah can't score with them. So Utah's just not what they were. It's not what put it this way. At the beginning of the season, if they projected all the lines throughout the season, I would have guessed this one 41.5 would be, yeah, maybe. Utah probably could hold them back, but I don't see it happening. I don't see it staying under that number here.
It's just tough because these are their last 5 games, okay? 22-19, 23-10, 27-19, 13-7, 17-14, okay? So they seem to pull everyone into the rock fight type of game. Now, so I can understand why it's that low.
Oh yeah.
But let me go over the BYU's last few games, okay? The 34-14, 38-9, 34-28, 41-19, 38-35, 37-24. So
BYU's good for 30 plus points.
Yeah, all clearly over it, right?
Yeah.
So I think,
and I just don't think Utah's defense is this show-stopping defense here that's going to hold BYU back.
And that's a low total for college, like 41.5 that's like a more of it's the same total as the Fresno Air Force game. So that's that's going to be, anyway, that's a good call. I like that one.
Oh, well,
the other one I was flirting with, I still don't know if I'm going to take it. It was similar concept to what we were talking about with the other game. So it's Purdue at Ohio State. Ohio State's favored by 37.5. They're not this type, they're not your parents' Ohio State team. Like this is not the team that's blowing people out 50-0, which has happened in years past, right? And they're not doing that. It's 35-7, 32-31, 21-17, 20-13. Like it's not, they're just not scoring that much. So I'm tempted to take just the plus 37.5 because I just don't think they don't blow people out. And even if they got up to a 28-point margin, I think then they'll call off the dogs. But
you gonna do it or not?
I don't know. I'm trying to talk myself into it now, but it
was. It was.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna take the plus 37.5?
Yeah,
that's probably a good call. So especially, I think they're due for a letdown game because they had Nebraska, like it's Oregon, Nebraska, Penn State, and then they're hosting Purdue. Like I think that's. I think they were really up for the one last week. So,
and I heard a good analysis by Joel Klatt earlier today. He was saying how impressed he was with Ohio State's jumbled up offensive line that managed to beat Penn State. And because their left tackle is out, so they had to move the right tackle? They had to move the guard over who's never played tackle before. And he said, I liked what he said. He's like, man, that run game looked good. And that was with this experiment, as it were, at offensive line. So I think they might want to lean into that, almost use Purdue as a testing ground for, can we really get this run game sorted out? And maybe they don't. I mean, obviously they have just Ferraris all over the place on the outside, but maybe right now against Purdue, they want, let's run for 300 yards.
Yeah.
Like, let's prove we can do. They don't need to try to win this game
exactly
with their best weapons. What they might need to do, again, I'm completely this is just my speculation, is maybe they got to prove to themselves they can put up just massive run yards here and prove to themselves when towards the end of the year, they're going to have to run it. And they've been struggling with that. So maybe they need to prove they're just going to win this in the trenches on both sides instead of, like, they're not going to want to track meet Purdue.
Yeah. It's the only thing it's tough is that like Purdue's lost 7 games in a row. Like they're bad, you know, like
Well, yeah, but we get
and
36 points. We're not expecting them to do anything besides get crushed, just not crushed
yeah,
by 36.
they lost to Northwestern 26-20. That's only 6 points. They lost to Oregon 35-0. That would still
That would cover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Illinois was 50-49. That covers. Wisconsin 52-6. That one wouldn't. But that's the
Yeah.
only. But Nebraska 28-10, Oregon State
We'll see.
38-21. So
We'll see.
yeah,
We'll see.
So I think that's I think that's a good call.
It's a lot of points, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. As you can see, I am riding this.
You
wagon.
are, aren't you?
South Carolina versus Vanderbilt. This is the irresistible force against the immovable object. I don't want either of these teams to lose. These are my darling SEC. Both of these teams. I love both of these teams. Yeah. They're just the way they're playing. Yeah, I know we shouldn't have bet against them last week. South Carolina was just so good.
Yeah, I know.
So this is force against force. This is good against good as far as they want to play the same game.
Yes.
So Vanderbilt,
2 very similar teams, you know.
Vanderbilt drags people into a Vanderbilt game, as we've said.
Yep.
South Carolina sort of dictates to everyone else.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to dictate to each other the same kind of game. We've got really good running quarterbacks. We've got really good offensive and defensive lines. All we have here is what I view as mirror images of each other.
Mm.
So I could see this coming down to just a field goal. Vandy's held everyone, either beat Alabama, they held Texas to what? It was a 3-point game.
Yep. So 27-24. Yeah.
And then just beat everyone else outright, or Missouri in overtime. So there's no reason to think anyone's just walking away against Vanderbilt at this point. There's just no reason to think that at all. And if this was in Williams-Brice, no, I go South Carolina no matter what. But at Vanderbilt, especially after a program-defining win that South Carolina just had, I don't know if I fully believe in this letdown stuff. But at Vanderbilt, the way Vanderbilt's playing, I just don't trust. I can't bet against them. Yeah. Just can't bet against them right now.
If they had a bit better home field advantage at Vandy, I'd feel better as opposed to half the stadium still under construction and cranes.
But I almost think that's to their advantage. Yeah. It might bring South Carolina into this odd. I wonder if it brings teams into an odd state if it's not a. I don't want to say it's not a real game
environment. Absolutely,
yeah, it's kind of sleepy, and then you're just getting punched in the mouth by this team. That you're like, hang on, what is going on here? We're in a high school stadium. Why on earth are we trailing this game right now?
It's hard to. I mean, if you had to pick like the range of stadium and stadium environment, and on the far end would be Williams-Brice at night, like on a top 10 SEC matchup, right? And on the exact opposite end is a Vandy afternoon game in a stadium under construction, right? So that's like
it's just not the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. That
I wonder if it messes with the away team's ability to even get up for the game. Yes,
it has to. I think all of a sudden you'd be like, the game's going to start. Be like, oh, we're playing already. Like it's for sure. But anyway, it's tough. I thought about this one too. It's just that I think South Carolina's the better team. Like, it's the only thing it might be a recency bias just after seeing them handle Texas A&M, but all Vandy does is keep it close, right? So you're right about that. And they both play the similar style. So, at Vandy, at home, getting points
Sellers and Rocket are really good. Yeah. And they're getting better week by week. But Vandy, how do you, they just handled Auburn. They're just handling SEC teams.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't see when I saw this, I just thought these are mirror images. I don't know what to think other than this is the same team on both sides of the ball.
The only other thing I was thinking about was the total, because it's pretty low. It's 45.5. So I feel pretty good about the over there. I'm not going to lock it up, but like it's, I think it's going to be a low scoring game until the fourth quarter. And then it's going to be like last week where then it's all of a sudden
I think it can go over that, but really close, like 24-27 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, does that even go over? Yeah, that goes over just by a point or two. Yeah. So I think it'll be somewhere in there. I think this will look kind of like the Texas game, but Vanderbilt will be on the winning side. That's all.
All right. That's all I got. So
I got one more. Okay. Army versus North Texas.
Ooh.
I'm going under 63.5. What do they think is going to happen here?
Yeah, that was a little surprising. I saw that total too. I mean, all of North Texas games are high scoring. Like, so they're
I don't think they're dictating to Army. I could be
44-17,
wrong.
52-20, 41-37, 52-47. Like, they're all, and this is
I'm
against like FAU and Memphis and Tulane. Like, it's their
right. So you would assume this becomes a North Texas game. I'm assuming it's becoming an Army game.
Gotcha.
And I'm not even sure if Army's going to have their stud starting quarterback in or not. And if he's not, I'm even more confident with the under. So I would just, I'm just riding the Army wave here. I just think there's
because I know last week Army won 20-3, but before that it was 45-28, 44-10, 49-7. So this was some pretty high scoring games.
Yeah, I just don't think that's gonna happen here.
Gotcha. Okay. All
right. Do we have anything
else?
That's
hold on. So was that one? It's 63.5.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. This could be like 30-20 and you're still like under. So
got some room there.
Yeah.
Even though some of our under picks have been either really, really sweaty or just ugly.
Yeah, that's a good call there.
That's all I got. So tune back in with us next week. And just if you're following along, just collect your winnings. We've had 2 winning weeks in a row here with college and 2 winning weeks with NFL. All right. So we'll catch you guys next week.